Hi, I'm Becky Nunn, and we're shooting with Artbeads today here in the Nunn Design office. And for this particular episode, I'm going to be talking about channel earrings and fun projects you can use with bits of rhinestone cup chain that you might already have and epoxy clay.
To make the channel earrings, you'll need the channel earrings, a piece of the cup chain, equal-sized balls of the epoxy clay, and some wet wipes handy. I've already gone ahead and pre-mixed my 2 balls of the epoxy clay, and I'm ready to go. And I've already measured out exactly how much it was going to take to fit all of this cup chain inside tight inside of the channel earring. I know this because I counted how many I did on this one. So I think there was a total of 17 cup chains to go all the way around and to have it be tight. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for mixing your epoxy clay. Started out with 2 equal balls and then mixed it until it wasn't marbled. And now I'm going to go ahead and snake out a small bit of the epoxy clay. So when I say snake out, I'm pulling and thinning it like such. Then you're going to go ahead and take your channel bead, and you're not going to want to have too much because you're going to want to have enough that you can embed the base of the rhinestone chain in there, but not too much that it's gushing over the sides. You'll have a lot of cleanup. So you see how I'm putting just enough. So you saw the amount that I was snaking it out. Now I'm using my thumb to press it in and push it in that direction. Snaking out. So I'm pulling and pushing and embedding it down. I'll be showing you a whole series of making these channel earrings, and I must admit that this rhinestone chain one is probably the more challenging out of all of these projects we'll be doing. So if you find that this to be a little bit tough, I'm admitting up front that this is probably one of the more challenging of these projects. I think it's because that cup chain moves around and there's a long piece of it when you're wrapping it around. So I've continued to pull and thin out, and now I'm towards my end and I can pinch off that excess. And go ahead and squish down the clay all the way down into the end part. If your clay has broken during any of the points in which you were moving along, just go ahead and break it off. Start to re-snake it and pull it thin, and then to continue to add on. So you can see that I have the clay pretty evenly all the way down inside of that channel. Now it looks kind of cool just like that. But I'm going to go ahead and use my wet wipe, first of all, to wipe off any of the epoxy clay that got on my fingers so that I don't transfer it onto the metal any of the times, and also onto my cup chain. And then I'm going to use my finger nail to go along these edges and just press that clay. If I have some over the sides, you're just kind of cleaning it up and also sculpting it back into the center. I'm not too worried about this because I'm going to be doing more as I add the cup chain on. Then with your cup chain, you're going to start on one end and you're going to press it down into the clay. And this is going to be, see how I'm starting to squirt over the sides? That's okay. You want to make sure that that chain has a lot to embed in because if there's not enough of the epoxy clay, then it will detach, and we can come back in and clean that up. I'm pressing down the cup chain into the epoxy clay, giving it plenty to grab onto. And at the end, if you have a little excess, you can go ahead and pull it even taut. And you will need to have a pair of flush cutters to trim away that excess if you have some. Now I'm going back in and I'm sculpting it by pushing it down into that epoxy clay, making sure that it's nice and attached, and that I'm straight. Then using my wet wipe again, I'm going to do that same thing that we did earlier, using my fingernail, and I'm going along that side edge and I'm cleaning up that excess. And then you're going to continue. You have 90 to 120 minutes to work with the epoxy clay before it is fully dried and hardened, so you have plenty of time to go back in and clean up all of that excess. And you can see on this sample, by the time I cleaned up the excess, it was very even noticeable. And you're going to want to get as clean as possible, because once this dries, it dries like cement, and every little bit will show. So you can go in with either a toothpick or a head pin, and also with your wet wipe, and just take away that excess until your piece is like this. Here are some samples of other things that you can use with the channel earrings. On this I used the same black epoxy clay and embedded chatons to create this fun look. Here I used some pearls, and I had left the pearls on the string, embedded it all within the epoxy clay, and then pulled the string out once it was all in position. Here's an example of using other size stones, an example of using seed beads, and here is an example of texturizing it the same way we did all squished up in a previous video. This is Becky Nunn, here on location at Nunn Design with Artbeads, showing how you can make these fabulous cup chain channel earrings.